Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Monday afternoon slash evening Zoom edition. And over the weekend, we had a dip that wasn't the end of the world, but it was annoying. My research tells me it's mostly my crypto banter daily newsletter that FTX, their bankruptcy trustee, sold a lot of their crypto over the weekend. And that equates to about, I don't know, 10, 12% of the market. So that may have had something to do with the drops that we had over the weekend and this morning. But we had a nice recovery today, and most cryptos are up. Bitcoin's up a couple percent. Let's go to the chart. Okay, should be on my Bitcoin day chart.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we're still in this little mini zone that I drew last week between 44K and 40,500. We've touched this 40,500 a couple times, but it seems to be holding as support in the past week or so. So that's encouraging. A lot of talking heads out there predicting a dip down into the 30s around this zone here. So I'd rather not see that, but that's a possibility. On Ethereum, yes, dipped back into the lower part of the zone that I drew, and we're not even close to the top part. So Bitcoin has been outperforming Ethereum the past couple months, so this doesn't really surprise me. The ETFs that we've been talking about, which would bring institutional funds, it would expose those folks in an easy manner to Bitcoin or to crypto, have been focused on Bitcoin, a little bit on Ethereum, but we're hopeful those get approved by the SEC in later this month, early January. They keep delaying it. They got to make a decision at some point, but so that's the market overall. Any comments or questions before we look for some trades on Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro? Okay, let's see what we can find. I'm on Altcoin Alert. I almost said iCoinPro. And I'm going to refresh. I'm on the altcoin radar setting. I want all the columns. My first sort is usually the AA score. And I'm seeing Brain Trust, sounds vaguely familiar, Nano. Lido, I've heard of. TRB, we looked at last, I think on Friday or last Monday. Synthetics is something I trade with some frequency. It's at 79, at least it was a little while ago. And what Altcoin Alert is telling us is there's a 78.9% chance that Synthetics is going to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. It's down 4% today. Let's check it out. Okay, I am on the layout I've been using for the past couple months. I'm going to show you a portion of an alternate layout that I discussed on Friday. I still need to do a video to describe that one in more detail. That's why I'm only going partial today, because I haven't done that video yet. Okay, let's go to the 5-minute chart on Synthetics. See if we're in a 1, 2, 3 dip. We're the opposite of that. We're like a pump. We're in the red zone. So if I were to get into this trade based on what I see here, I'd probably put an alert down here where I'm seeing support. It's pretty close to this mid zone between the two, the red and the green zones, the supply and demand visible range, which is the Lux Algo indicator I use. I've talked about this in some detail in past videos, so you might want to check those out. But essentially, it's their version of support and resistance. So generally, if you are a buy the dip, buy the pump, or sell the pump kind of trader, you're going to want to buy here at or in the green zone or close to it. Buy your longs here and then sell your shorts up here. Or you can also use this red zone as an exit for your long trades. But I digress. So Again, you could set up a price alert right about here, 357, or in the green zone, about 348, even down further into the green zone around 343. And setting a price alert is pretty easy. Right click, add alert, probably round this to 357. And then I usually put my information source as the alert name, AA score purchase, and then go to notifications and choose how you want to be alerted. My default is usually notify in my app on my phone, show a pop-up on my computer screen, and play a sound also on my computer screen. And I like chirpy, 3 notes reverb, beep beep, handbell. These are all. Thin is okay. It's sometimes hard to hear. Alarm clock is obnoxious. I don't use that one unless I have something really urgent to notify myself about. So that is the price alert on the 5-minute chart. As you know, if you've been with me before, I prefer 15-minute charts and alerts on the indicators I like to use. My primary indicators is RTI. And for trend trades, I'll use this cumulative delta for confirmation. And at the moment, we have a dip below the 20 and a break above. That's often a dip trade recovering. And when it breaks above the 20, that's something I'm interested in. So I'll set an alert for that. Another alert I like to set is if it breaks above the 50, that can be a good trend trade to enter. If it breaks above the 80, that can be a good trend as well. If it breaks below the 20, that can be a good short. So let's start the beginning from this one and set this up. So for breaks above for when it's really taking off, don't really have a good example of that at the moment or in the recent past of this one. Let's go with the 50 example then. Over here on Saturday in the early morning, we got a break above the 50. Happened right about here on the chart. So it goes up, dips a little bit, and almost a 2% move. So not bad. At the time it broke above, we did get some confirmation here with 3 decent sized, well, 1 good size and 3 smaller cumulative delta candles, but still a trend up. So that would have been a go for me. I might have hesitated. It's kind of close to the red zone, but I'm only looking for a 1% move at 10x leverage on my trades. If you're trading this spot, you may not have wanted to take this. It's above the mid zone, a little too close to the red zone. So as a spot trader, I probably would not have taken that. So that's an example. And then on the short side, we get a breakdown here below the 20 on a trend trade. And it just keeps dropping. We get 4 straight candles here before the dip, but they're not very big. So that's sort of, it is trending down overall. It's not a great confirmation, but given where it was at the time above just coming out of the red zone, I probably would have taken that trade. Of course, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but so those are a couple examples how you can use the RTI. So to set alerts, if you're trading spot, those are the easiest ones. You can right click on the RTI, add an alert. If you want to do the cross above 50 I just showed you, it just happens to be the first one listed. So you could leave that as is, once per bar close, and call it what you want. If you want to trade those that break above the 80, you're going to be crossing up. Choose a value of 80. Again, once per bar close, and call it what you want. If you want to trade both directions, we're going to be exiting a channel, 80 on the top, 20 on the bottom, and you can mess around with these if you want. We've talked about going up to 100 on the upper band, on the upper bound version. So I default to the 80-20 pretty frequently. Once per bar close, and again, call it what you want, AA score purchase or something else. So that's how you set an alert for something that's breaking above the 80 or crashing down below the 20. And those are trend trades, and you should use some form of confirmation, whether it's cumulative delta or something else, to confirm that. Okay, now another option is something that, as I talked about earlier, something that breaks below the 20 and then comes back, like that breakup, like we get that here, and this is starting a new trend. So you may have confirmation with the cumulative delta, you may not. That's less important to me on this approach. But it does, it's gone up 3% since breaking through that 20, coming out of the green zone. We do get some confirmation with cumulative delta when it breaks up. So overall, this is a go. That would have been a good entry at early this morning around 6:30 or 7. And on an example of something breaking down the 80, that happens. Bring up my vertical line. Yeah, that happens here. And it goes against this. And then this is, let's see what that looked like at the time. Well, kind of in the mid zone. It wasn't in the red zone at the time that happened. But regardless, that would have been enough for me. A break below the 80 goes against us at first, but it does come back down, and 5, 6, 7%. Really nice trade on that one. So for the alerts on this, we're going to enter a channel. Right click on here, enter a channel. And again, 80-20 is what I usually use. And 1, 2, 3 dip pump. And often I'll choose a different sound. I usually use 3 notes reverb for trend trades and chirpy for dips that are coming back. So again, it's going to dip below the 20 and come back. That's often a good entry for a long. Crashing above the 80 and coming back down is a good place for a short. All right. So any questions on the setup for, oh, actually, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. So I talked about this on Friday. This is an alternate approach, and I think it's simpler for trend trading. So we're going to still rely on the supply and demand visible range for support and resistance. And then the super trend can be helpful in determining where to get in on trend-based trades. I've been using this Annie's ribbon, which is a custom indicator from another trader, but I'm new to that one, so I'm not going to really talk about it. I think our goal here is to do something that's easy to set alerts on and easy to evaluate a trade. I mean, we have in this situation from this morning, a buy alert goes off on the super trend, and it's in the green zone, so it's a really nice entry. And yeah, I took something like that on a different coin today and did pretty well. And it's really easy to set alerts on this. Right click. And your options are buy, sell, or direction change. Since I'm trading both directions, I frequently use direction change. If you're spot trading, you just might want to go with buy. Once per bar close, leaves it on until you turn it off. And then, yeah, your alert name. You might want to call it something different since you're using a different layout. It's up to you. And yeah, that's how you do that. There's a couple different super trends on TradingView. I think this one's the one by Evergrande, but this one's okay too. And they look pretty much the same. Some of the default settings are a little different. You might want to mess around with those. And that's an easier way to find a good entry. The downside of this, as you can see, it doesn't trigger very often. So let's look at this buy signal here. What was going on when that went off? Yeah, that one's not good. It's in the green zone at the time. And you'd still be in that trade if you took it. So it's far from perfect, but I think it's better than just throwing, darts at the board. So I'm getting some background noise. Okay, any questions or comments about that setup on SNX? Okay, let's go over some other coins. I'll go faster. And since I've gone over the setups in some detail, and let's see what else we can find. So that was the Altcoin Alert AA score. Social activity is another one I like to sort by, match that up with trading activity. If I get fire on both or thumbs up, those can be worth more investigation. And then I'm going to look for something I like to trade. I like STX a lot. I've been trading this one. It's up 16% today. That might be too much. INJ, I kind of like that one. Same situation. IOTEX is an older project. And up 29%. Came out of nowhere. Is that the same one that pumped like a month or so ago? Have to look that one up. AVAX, I've been trading this a lot lately. Kind of in the middle, but that can often mean we're getting some of this action. Like I can pile up my 1% trades that I like to do. So let's look at AVAX. Then we'll look at something, that we can trade as a spot trade as well. So AVAX, quick look at the 5. Trending up in the red zone now. Had a nice dip sequence here in the wee hours of the morning. Got your squeeze here, a bubble on the Bollinger Bands. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a 5 dipper though. So actually I probably would have gotten in here. 1, 2, 3, or right around here. Maybe ladder buy once or twice and then get out here. My first position breaks even. My next two do really well. So that's what we call dollar cost averaging or ladder buying. I've got videos on that if you want to look up that technique. Most traders use a stop loss. That's fine, but you'll lose a lot using that. Since we think we're in a bull market after this weekend's dip, I'm not sure so much anymore, but I do see ladder buying working nicely in a bull market, not so much in a bear market. Okay, so on your 5-minute for an alert, the middle zone here is right around $39. That might be a good place if it dips again. And then your green zone here between, say, 37.50 and 36.50 would be another place to put a price alert. On our 15-minute indicators, got a really nice dip and break here this morning. We've seen this set up on a couple other charts now. And let me put that vertical line. You can see enter right here and catch that move up. It breaks above the 80 here, but not with force. So we get that break here. Get 3 candles on the cumulative delta, so pretty decent confirmation. And I think you'd still be in that one. This was fairly recent. This just happened a couple hours ago. So yeah, you'd still be in that trade. Let's see, what other breaks do we have? Our first break below the 20. Sorry, I did order a new mouse. It's supposed to be here today, but I haven't seen it yet. It's difficult for me to drag. So, all right, we have a break below the 80. I'm sorry, the 20 right about here on a short. And it's a little jagged, but eventually that would have played out. Maybe a ladder buy or two, and then get this big move down. So that would have been a good entry eventually. And here's another example of breaking above the 80 and a big move up. You can see that pretty plainly. So, all right. So our indicator alerts, right click on the RTI. You can cross above the 50, the mid zone, crossing up above the 80, or crossing down at 20 if you just want to short something. And then for the trend trade, going both directions, that's going to be exiting a channel, 80-20. And for dips and pumps, we're going to enter a channel also at 80-20. Okay, let's look at AVAX on the super trend. And more entries. Yeah, nice one there in the green zone. Okay, you can look at that, the short potentially that went off. Kind of a no man's land. For a 1% move, I might have gone in small to try to catch this. It's only 2.5% down to the green zone. It did eventually do that, but that would have been kind of risky. Let's look at these buys. This buy is not good. Ignored that one. And this buy here is too far away as well. See this buy here. Yeah, it's not is better. It's closer to the green zone with room to move up to the red zone. So that's the super trend option. Any questions on AVAX, the different approaches that we've gone over? Okay, we'll look at one more on Altcoin Alert. So we've done an AA score, social activity. Take a quick look at the 1 hour projected range. I don't use this very often. If I see like a 4 or 5% in here with very little risk on the lower side, I might look into this. But I'm not seeing anything like that at the moment. Maybe ILV. Not liking that too much. Let's look at short-term sentiment. Well, actually, let's look at long-term sentiment. We'll set this up as more of a swing trade. So we're looking for a match between long-term sentiment and the Elder Impulse Daily. So try to match up sentiment and technicals. See if we can find something that's moving. OXT might be played out. VET. Took a short on VET this morning and not liking it. INJ again, up 20%. Yeah, we're seeing these same ones. EOS, stacks. Solana. One thing I like about trading on something like Solana on a spot trade is if it goes against me, I'll just keep it. It's sort of cheating, but yeah, and it'll take out some of the, if that happens, it'll take out some of the funds I use for day trading. But Solana is a good project, and I wouldn't mind holding it for a few months if it went against me on a day trade. But I digress. Let's go over to this and evaluate it as a swing trade. Okay, so I'm not going to look at the 5-minute necessarily. I'm going to look at the 15 and the 30 and maybe the 1 hour. We're on the red zone now. It's up pretty high already. So, I don't see a good entry now. I'd want it to get down here in this green zone, at the minimum, the yellow zone. So on this one, I think I'd set alerts. I'd set price alerts around here, around 71.50. And again, down here at 66.40. And probably try to make those two entries. If I bought this one, this would be my ladder buy purchase. And so I would set those two alerts and then reevaluate after that. If it goes against me, like it drops down to the 71 and then the 66, I'd probably make another purchase around 60, maybe one more around 55 or 50. And then if it kept dropping, I'd just hold it for a while, see what happens. And let's look at the super trend. Not sure if I've used it for swing trading before. Let's look on the hour. So the entry here on Thursday, the 14th, ended up working out okay. Let's see what it looked like back then. Yeah, that was in the red zone though. Wouldn't have taken that trade. And the next one goes off here. Probably the same. Yeah. All these buys are in the red zone for the most part. This dip here is kind of in the middle. I would have taken that one probably, and then save some funds if it dipped down more, and it hasn't yet. So this buy this morning at 9, 10 o'clock, so far looks pretty good. Okay, any questions on our potential swing trade with Solana? All right, well, any questions on Altcoin Alert or any coins you want to look at or anything like that on this platform before we head over to iCoinPro? All right. Heading over to iCoinPro, home of the 123 dip. And there's two tools I like here, the RSI Spy and the Buddy Coin Crawler. I'm going to refresh and look at I'm sorting by the 1 hour RSI, just similar to the RTI. And when something's dipped below 30, it's often due for a recovery, as you've seen on my RTI charts. When it dips below 20 and comes back up, same concept for the RSI. Unfortunately, I can't exclude Bitcoin pairs. Like these are showing up, and these aren't useful to me. So I don't see any USD pairs until down here for BitShares, and that's at the 40 value, which is near the 40 value, which is too high. So I'm going to sort this by the other way. And so these are values that have gone above the 70 and may be due for a dip. So these are coins I might want to short. But since I'm trading both directions, I would set up the same kind of alerts you guys have seen on my other charts and function accordingly. So we can still do that, still use this data to help us out. Let's look at something we can trade both directions. VET would be one, IMX. Stacks. Let's look at IMX. Okay, on the 5-minute, it's up in the red zone. On something I want to trade on the spot trade or go long with, I'd want it to dip down here to this support / mid zone around 197, just below $2. And then another option down here around, say, 182, 183. On the 15-minute chart with our indicators, we had a drop below the 20 here. Also here on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, that would have been a good short. Breaking above the 20 here is a really good long. And it's up in the red zone now, has not dipped back down yet. So I'd be looking at this as a short once it breaks the 80. Yeah, so that's probably, this would be something I would be looking to short. Yeah, dips below the 20 and below the 80 have been good short entries in the recent history for IMX. The long side, this broke above the 20 on Sunday and was kind of a fake out. Eventually you would have gotten out. But with this move we had today, so that breaks up here, but then drops. This may have worked as on a ladder buy. Yeah, dip down here, pick up another entry at -2%, and then get out here. You know, first position breaks even, second one does pretty well. That's why I like ladder buying in a bull market. There's another break above here. And that might have gotten me out my 1% approach, and 2% even. Then it drops 12% and then shoots back up. So this one's been pretty volatile. I like it. So yeah, this works well on both the strategies we use on the RTI, the entering a channel to catch dips and pumps, and then the exiting the channel to catch dips and pumps on the trend. Okay, let's look at the super trend. Okay, let's look at this mostly for longs. So this entry is in the red zone, not good, would not have taken that. But I would have gotten a small move. Well, 7% is not small. You can't predict everything. Another buy, still in the red zone. Gets another move. Another buy in the red zone. These are risky. I probably wouldn't have taken any of them. I would have been very interested in this though. Keep this buy down here closer to the green. Yeah, I probably would have taken that one. So that does a nice move up. I'm such a great trader in hindsight. 2020. Okay, and again, if you're fairly new to this one, right click, super trend buy, once per bar close. And that was RSI SPY. Click create, and you're good to go on your alerts. Any questions on IMX, either of these setups? Okay.
Just a slightly different question.
Okay.
Not there. Go back to where you were with the. You said you don't trade the Bitcoin pairs.
No.
Have you ever tried that?
Yes. I did really well actually, but I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And now might be more difficult because Bitcoin's doing so well. But if you want to accumulate Bitcoin, if that's your goal, then yeah, you should do that. But for me, I'm trying to generate USDT. So for that reason, it makes more
Right.
sense to to trade those pairs. But yeah, there's a lot of traders who swear by it and do really well with it. I've dabbled, and the one trade I did really well with, I kind of forgot about or lost it in my file, and I checked on that account, and I had, like 0.15 Bitcoin or something. It was pretty amazing. It was a Solana Bitcoin pair. But I know that, and I was learning this from, I think when I first came across Sheldon with Crypt Nation, he's their swing trader over there and it's no secret I like that group and subscribe to their newsletters and things like that. So he does that from time to time, maybe even most of the time, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just seemed like a whole area that I've never explored, and
Mhm.
um, maybe a lot of people stay away from it because they perceive it as being a very advanced technique.
Well, it's hard enough to trade one coin pair. When you do that, you're trading two coin pairs, both the Bitcoin and the altcoin. So
But at the end of the day, you're just reading the chart and using the same indicators and looking for the same opportunities.
that's true. Yeah, you look at the charts the same way you do with USDT pairs. All right, thanks, Craig. Any other questions before we move on? Try to find, I think we got time for one more. All right, that was the RSI SPY. The other one I like that iCoinPro does is the Buddy Coin Crawler. And I'm sorting this average low to SMA. The low is a 24-hour low. The SMA line is the red lines you see between the Bollinger Bands. Usually looking for 4 or 5% or higher. That's indicating that it's moving. Sometimes doing this, which is a day trader I like. And I'm not seeing any of my usual suspects in here. So let's look at something that has decent volume that I don't know that well. How about WorldCoin? I can click on this drop-down menu. It will take me to a trading view chart on WorldCoin. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, it's using my basic layout, which doesn't have the RTI on it. So we'll go over here, WLD, USD. Actually, is this WorldCoin or is it WLD? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, reset chart, and it's kind of tight, at least visually. Wow, okay, 7% between these tight looking Bollinger Bands, interesting. So this is something we'll look at as a spot trade, and breaks above the 20 after dipping have done reasonably well. Probably would have looked at the mid zone here and just missed it. So I'd still be in that trade. Better entry is obviously over here. It's kind of putzing around the 20. This can be frustrating if you set an alert once per bar close, because it'll go off like every hour or so. If you have 3 or 4 of them, it can be mildly annoying, but you get used to it. Breaks above the 80. That happened here on Saturday, and it shot up. Another entry here. Go with these are pretty easy to see. There's one there above the 80. A dip below, and another one there that you could have taken. And these are kind of hard to see, at least this one. So there's multiple breaks above the 80 over that over that weekend period that would have been potentially lucrative. Let's see, on this one, the red zone, I don't think would have been that high. So yeah, actually the green zone is the red zone at that point. So it's not helping us that much as a point to choose where to exit. Yeah, this one's pretty volatile. Might just go with a percentage, get out of, 3, 4, 5%, something like that. It's not much in the way of analysis, but when it kind of trends up like this, it keeps creating a new red zone. Like this would have been the red zone back then. And the red zone keeps going up as it pumps. This is where it's a good idea to take a look at the longer overall chart, looking at 1 hour, 30-minute. And you can use the red zone and on day trades and swing trades, you can use the red zone in the 30 and the 1 hour to get a better idea of where to get out. You can set alerts in there if you want to reevaluate your trade. I'm in a swing trade now on FET, on 5x leverage, on what's that exchange? BingX. And I was up about 8% on a chart, so I created a stop loss and put it in profit. That's one of my favorite things to do on swing trades. So that way I can't lose, though it does seem to attract that stop loss. But I see resistance up here, so I want to try to get to that resistance before I exit the trade. You can use the similar concept with what we're looking at here on WorldCoin. All right, yeah, 30-minute, 1 hour charts. Get out on the red zone. Any questions or comments on this setup or anything else on iCoinPro? Okay, any other coins you want to look at? Well, we're at about 40 minutes. That's usually a good place to stop. I will wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. Hope to see you live next time. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help support the channel. And for the rest of you folks, happy trading. We'll see you next time.